We're gonna get a look under the hood right now. Sweeper, slider, curveball.
It's become my pitch over the last 3 or 4 years.
It's been absolutely disgusting.
Puts him away with a curveball. It's swing and miss time.
I'm trying to throw it just like a heater.
Heater, 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 heater.
Tell me if this does anything different.
Watching it, like in my mind, I'm like salivating and I'm thinking all kind of like triple X-rated thoughts. Show me the sweeper.
All right. So the first time I was showed a sweeper grip, it was this one right here.
Okay. Basic on the horseshoe off to the side.
I threw it in 2020. So I always, because I was a higher slot guy, I always threw a curveball, right? So it was a normal, and I'm thinking this, and I was showed this in 2020. Wasn't a big fan of it. Still felt weird throwing it. 21, I went back to this. It was good still. I think I was a little bit higher still then. 22, I dropped down low, and that just didn't work anymore. It was kind of spinning. It's when the changeup was a little bit better. And 22 to probably the beginning of last year, just kind of tinkering. I ended up landing on this one that I really like. So it is the sweeper grip.
Sure.
But this finger kind of just helps with the spin efficiency. Kind of just, because before it was here, and there was just something that I was doing where it kind of
spitting out of the bat.
And you look at it, there's so much that goes into it, right? Like you look at the shape, it's the same shape, and all of a sudden I'm like, I'm down to like 20%, 30% spin efficiency, and we just kind of were like, hey, try to throw this, and I'm back. I was back up to 50%, 60%.
Get some stabilization there.
Yes, but the thought process for me is, I feel like I'm throwing a curveball when I'm throwing it.
Really?
I'm not trying to spin it this way. I'm trying to throw it like a curveball, because I feel like if I do this, I'm gonna end up leaking out. Just gonna kind of spin. Yes, like I'm trying to.
So what's the mental cue? Is there a verbal mental cue that you say to yourself or that you think to yourself? Because I hear guys talk about, I want to sling a pie. Depending on release, they might be thinking, I'm trying to work under this ball, right, to create that sweep action.
So Taylor Rogers actually showed me this. So when you think about a four seam, right, you're trying to spin it this way.
Yep.
With the sweeper, right, I'm holding it here. It's almost like the same thing, but I'm trying to spin it this way. So I'm spinning it down almost. So I get to the top of it and spin it. I'm trying to create a top spin, but it's just this, I'm trying to do this with it. That's kind of the key with that.
And then everything else works off the two seam for me. So
off the rails.
Yeah, off the rails. So spiking the curveball here.
So is that something that you developed, or is that something that just initially you're like, yo, it's a certified banger?
So my brother used to throw a two finger almost like this.
The only other person I've seen throw a curveball like that, Trevor Cahill.
Yeah.
And the thing just spit out of his.
And it was good. And so I tried to, as a kid, like, oh, I could throw that pitch.
Sure.
It was terrible. So then I went to college, and a teammate of mine, Benton Moss, threw maybe the best curveball I've seen, and he was this way. I was a little more tighter in here, and I'm like, hey, it's popping out on me, and he's like, just slide it over a little bit. He's like, I use this for stability, and then I've been throwing it like that since probably 2016. It's become my pitch over the last 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, it's been absolutely disgusting.
And that pitch is a love-hate relationship. It should be so good. I should be able to roll out of bed with it.
Right.
And it's when it's not right, it just drives me nuts.
What creates the inconsistency for you that you've identified?
Everything for me is all on leverage.
Sure.
Like I want to try and create, and Cap calls it tension right at the end of the ball. So if I have trouble creating that leverage, the ball, it tends to just kind of go straight down on me, which is fine to lefties, but to righties, when I'm trying to just get it, down and away, I need a little bit extra gear. It just kind of flattens out on me, and that just like still plays, but it's not to where my eye's trying to take the ball to.
Slider, show me the slide piece. This is a pitch, when we go back to 2020, you were throwing this out of the zone, and you turned the free world into the poorest fisherman on the planet. Because everybody's searching for that thing.
On 0-2 after a good slider. Swung on and missed.
For me, it's just like a traditional, just right around the horseshoe.
On the top.
I'm trying to throw it just like a heater.
Heater, 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 heater.
And for that one, I don't care how much it goes as long as it's a heater for as long as possible. It's kind of ugly in terms of the numbers.
It's
looks. Like, yeah, whatever.
But effectiveness, right?
Yeah, and Chris was like, dude, honestly, if anybody else, like, I would want to change your slider, but like, we'd be the dumbest people in the world to even suggest that. I'm like, yeah, you're not touching it. Because like, I don't care what it looks like on the,
Right.
if we're getting results and we continue to get results, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And so like metrically, it's not the prettiest, but for whatever reason, I'm able to tunnel it really well. It's able to be a heater for as long as possible, and I'm able to command it. And so,
So when I hear that, I think you are able to tunnel it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it looks like something that it's not. So then I think about a layer of deception that you've added to this.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think about your ability to work off of effective misses.
Yeah.
So just because metrically this isn't something that gets you out of bed, it is something that you have not only learned how to execute, but has become an integral part of how you're going to continue to get outs.
Mm-hmm.
And whether or not it's the one doing the heavy lifting in the moment, it's still serving a purpose.
I think back to like sometime in AA, we were in Akron and had a start against maybe like the Altoona Curve. And saw some of the guys on that team, and they were kind of talking shit, but kind of not. And they're like, dude, like, I see you so good. I went like 7 strong. And they're like, but it's right there. And then I just like, and then it's not. And I'm like, I guess that's the point. Like, I don't know. I don't know how to react to that.
That's me being so much better than you, man. I know you don't want to say that, but that's how it goes.
I guess that's pitching.
You know, moving over to the slide piece, just pretty basic. I don't throw a gyro. I spin it. I'm very much supination over pronation. So I know I can get to the front of the ball really well. And the only thing I'm really thinking about with the slider is I'm always just gripping this seam with my middle finger, and it doesn't feel like it to me, but even when I look at some of the clips,
you can see the
my index finger will not be on the ball sometimes. There's been times where it's like, well, if I can get more pressure with that, that would be great.
Sure.
But it's almost like I just trust the feel of it, and what I'll play with is my thumb.
That's where I was gonna go next.
And it's almost
naked, or
it's almost the same thing every year, and each year I tell myself it's going to be different. But it's like you stop throwing sliders for a couple months, and then it's like, all right, we're getting back to ripping it, and it's like you just grab the ball and you go. And I found myself just straight up on the seam a lot.
Really?
And last year during spring training, I wasn't really getting the movement that I wanted on it. It was just it was almost like gyro movement, but like I was spinning.
Not enough spin.
Woody, actually, Alex Wood was talking to me about it, and he said that what he's learned is you just play with the thumb. You go a little lower for more vert, and then you just sneak it up a little bit, and it'll sweep a little more. So where I kind of found that I like it is right on the inside of this bottom seam. So I'm all the way on this seam, and then just right thumb pressure just right here on the inside of the seam, so I can still feel it.
Sure.
I like to feel the seams.
But you're
I like to
anchoring
feel
on
like
top
I'm
of the
gripping
seam.
the ball,
Like on the
but my anchor's on the top of the ball.
ridge.
Whereas if I was on the seam or below the seam, it's kind of coming out and catching a little more on there. And I just like the true consistent spin that I get with my thumb up here, where I get the best of both worlds, with my grip feeling good, but also the way it comes out is consistent, and it allows the ball to spin and move laterally, which is what I'm after.
Like, I'd gone through every curveball grip known to man, I felt
Really?
like, and I finally
Spiked it.
Yeah, and I finally just went back to like your normal spike, but just like a different thought process with it. And it's like, all I'm thinking is like, I'm trying to literally throw like the front of my hand at the plate. And I'm not physically gonna get here.
No, but
I'm gonna
mental
get to the front of the ball.
Yeah.
And so now it's like my curveball's gotten better. It's a little more consistent. And then the slider is, you know, it's kind of like this.
Okay, so you're off the top of the horseshoe there?
Yeah, like
Okay.
I'm like basically torquing my fingers into the horseshoe right here. And all I'm thinking with it is kind of similar to the curveball.
Yeah.
Kind of similar to the curveball, except I'm keeping a stiff wrist, but I'm going like this and not like this.
Sure, there's not that torque. There's not that turn.
And I, like 23, I got traded over here. We started throwing the slider. It was really
It's
good.
fantastic. I mean, it was your best pitch.
Yeah, for the last 2 months. And then last year it was like hit or miss. Like one game it might be good. I might not have it for 4 games, and then I'd find it, and I've toyed around. I changed grips. And so this off season, like, that was a big thing for me. I literally took a video of me holding this grip so I'll never forget it again.
I love that.
And
I love that.
Started off, it was kind of cuttery, and then it's like, oh, I figured out the stiff wrist thing, the feel of that. And then it was like, my last bullpen before I came out here, it was like, I thought I tried that, and it was like, every slider was a like gyro movement like I wanted
What you were after.
And so I was like, all right, well, I've had days where it's been good before. Let's see when we get out to Arizona if it's like, and it's
'Cause we know
kind
what
of
happens
stayed
here.
similar, so I'm now it's like, all right, I've got the feel back to get the movement. Now let's find the sights of, all right, I need to throw it here to get it in the zone, and then I need to throw it here to get a chase. And it's like trying to figure out those